Thank you for staying with us. Now, life is full of challenges, and the ability to navigate through them is a survival skill. Rhythms of Resilience is a book that offers a practical yet insightful take on overcoming life's challenges. The book delves into the importance of man's inner strength and the need to tap into it to scale through obstacles. Resilience is also an important virtue, which the author emphasized on using her own personal experiences as an illustration. The focus on mastering stress provides actionable advice for living under pressure. Now, joining us in the studio to discuss more about this book is founder and lead facilitator at the Wellness Boss Company Limited, Chris Oziofu Ekwafe Ero. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you join us.
It's great to be here. Always great to be here in your studio.
How are you doing, by the way?
I'm good.
Congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
It has a lot written in it. And let's begin with why you chose to write. You know, when I read it, so many things were playing through my mind. Yeah. I could connect with certain things because some of it I had experienced.
You had experience, yes.
Yes, and then, you know, I just couldn't pull through at some point, and I just had to close the book because it was a lot. It was taking me back to certain things I decided to
just put under the rug or something.
Just shut out. But then you were able to write it out. What was playing in your mind while you were writing? Are you going back to those scenes? What was the emotion like?
Well, for me, while I was writing it, to be very honest, I'd always wanted to write about my experience, but I really didn't know what angle to come at it from, right? And it occurred to me, especially anytime I go on any of my facilitations and people get to hear what had happened to me, they go like, okay, I'm going through this too, but how do I overcome it? How do I go through it? You know, how do I come out of it? And I've had to counsel people as well who share their stories with me. And I thought about, while writing this, it's better for me to write using my own stories than to use the stories of my clients, you know, because I don't have autonomy over their own stories. So I'm like, okay, whatever it is that you're going through, everybody else probably has gone through it at some point in their lives. You know, in varying intensities and stuff like that. But the ability to come out of it is possible and is inherent in each of us. But, you know, it's important for people to know and connect with your story and see that, oh, it really is possible. So it's not just about head knowledge, or I went to school and I studied this and this is what I'm doing, but I've actually lived it. And I am living it still, you know. Yeah. One
of the best ways to actually put thoughts together or put a book together is to also infuse a story. But this time around, it's a non-fiction.
Yeah,
and
it's non-fiction.
For people to read and relate, you know, just like she said that she went through, you know, harrowing experience and all of that. But, you know, you're just not right about, you know, amnesia. You also talked about embracing chaos and mastering stress, which is, you know, something that is a day-to-day activity for most of us, because you always have to wake up and then get into the, you know, tons and, you know, everything, you know,
of life,
legal state and every other thing. So the question which others will be asking, which you also put in your book, is who are you and why do you think you're the right person to put these topics down? Yeah,
like I said before when I was talking with her, because I've lived it. Right, I've experienced it. And beyond that, I'm also trained in the art of stress mastery as a coach and as a facilitator.
Did that training come after your experience?
Of course, it came after. You know, I delved into the industry after my memory came back, because I was forced to go back to really connect with what happened to me, what led me down, what led me to this point. And when I realized it, I noticed that, well, this is something that's synonymous with a lot of people. Yeah. And not so many people have the right beacon, so to speak, you know, to light the path for them. Like, okay, hey, this is how you're supposed to go about it. And the challenges that we've always had, you know, because we live a stressful life, you know, in as much as your life could be easy, but there could still be stress. And we've been taught about stress in such a way that it's negative and it impacts on us negatively. So we want to avoid it, we want to run away from it. But I had to learn the hard way, really, that you don't have to run away from stress, because stress exists for your good. It's about learning how to use it as a tool. It's about how do you master it, because you are the master, so to speak, and stress basically exists to help you. You know, to keep you alive, to protect you.
It's not meant to kill you.
No, it's not meant to kill you. But when it does kill, as it almost did me, is when you really do not have any understanding of it. And again, as I said, you're applying the wrong measures towards dealing with it or towards coping with it, which is running away, avoiding it, sweeping it under the rug or something. Yeah, but things happen to you for a reason. And until we are able to confront it, and that's one thing a lot of humans are kind of like difficult to contend with, confronting your trauma, confronting your stress, right? And then growing out of it. Because in everything, as I said in the book, it doesn't matter what it is that has happened to you, but there's always something to be grateful for.
Absolutely. The fact that, one, you're alive, first of all, you came out of it, and then how to navigate through
the waters,
is now the next step to take. Because from your book, you said, you looked when you had your son and all of that, that was when it happened.
Right.
And then one time he held you on the legs and all, and then when you looked into his innocent face and confused eyes, right there you knew what you needed to do.
Yeah.
There are those who do not know what to do as it is. It's always a challenge to see how they can rise above these challenges. Yes, I've come out of it and all. Now, for instance, when I went into coma and all, and I came out of it, there was first confusion, first of all. But then when I came back home was when everything started playing like, okay, what's this? It was taking a while
for you to reconnect.
For me to reconnect with the house. And so I started having PTSD. I was struggling to sleep and all, but somehow I was able to navigate it. So when I was reading the book, it was just taking me back. I see
where the connection is,
back to those times, and I'm like, no, let me shut this down for now and then deal with some of that. It's not that I haven't walked out of it, but then I'm trying to, you know what, this is not the time for me to start trying to remind myself some of these things, but talk to people who are struggling to know what to do, how you were able to know what to do, and then begin to embrace life again.
Yeah. The thing I always tell people is when you wake up, of course, there's a general saying that when you wake up is your morning, right? And it usually takes a little incident, something very simple, just as you mentioned, the case of my son. As at that time, I didn't even know he was my son. I wasn't connecting with him. But for some reason, he held me and called me mama, and it touched me in my inner soul, and I knew that, okay, I needed to leave. You have to move from the spot of seeing yourself as a victim, of seeing yourself as someone that life happens to, and look at it as, hey, I'm a very significant player in this world, and I need to take care of myself. And everything that happens to me for a reason. And why is this happening to me? When I lost my memory, right, during that period, it was easy for me to be a victim. Why me? That was like my mantra, why me? But I've had to learn, why not me? And I think that's one thing that we all need to ask ourselves. Why not you? Why should it be the next person? Because every situation you go through, every stressful situation is actually an avenue for growth. It's an avenue for you to discover certain aspects of yourself that you normally wouldn't have if these things didn't happen. So you look at it like that. But again, there's always a danger of comparing yourself with another person.
Absolutely.
Of thinking that, again, the same why me thing, this is happening to me, but it's not happening to this other person. And that's because we're looking at things from the surface level. Everybody's going through their own struggles.
Absolutely.
Again, as I said, intensity might be the varying factor, but we all have our struggles. But carrying it on your head and acting like the world is against you gives you a sense of weakness, a sense of an inability to contend with your world. And I think that is a crime against us, because we have been created with everything that we need, right? Everybody. And you really can aspire to be anything and to overcome any situation that you're going through, but it all starts from here. And there's something I always tell people as well. While you're going through life, never think about bouncing back. You can't ever bounce back. And bouncing back...
Why not?
What do you mean bouncing
Let me
back?
explain
Going back
to you.
where you
Bouncing back keeps you in one spot. An inability to grow, because you constantly are looking back and are trying to reconnect with the old you. And there's a certain refusal. It could be subtle, but there's a certain refusal for you to accept that this happened to you for a reason, and I need to move forward. So it's all about moving forward.
And perhaps lift others out of it.
And lift others out of it. So even if you're looking back, don't look back from a position of pity or I'm a victim, but look back from a place of, ooh, okay, what can I glean? What can I glean from this, and what can I add to where I am today to propel me to what I need to be tomorrow?
Absolutely.
In some of the chapters that you wrote, especially in part C, well, I won't be able to read it first because it's an NTBB word for us. You know.
Yeah, but you can use another word. You can use another word.
I'm going to say nonsense will happen, but that's the way I'm going. I just wanted to link it up with when you say, I'm not my mistakes. Like, when you make mistakes, people say, own up. So why should someone not own up, based on what you wrote, that I'm not my mistakes?
Yeah, what I say is that your mistakes do not define you, but they make you. It kind of sounds like it's tautology, but your mistakes don't define you. For instance, the fact that you failed at a certain venture doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means you failed at that venture. And the lessons that you acquire from that venture, from the failing, you can actually apply it so that you can become better in whatever venture you're going to the next time. Now, this venture could be anything. It could be a relationship. It could be your work, your job, business, whatever the case may be. When you encounter some roadblocks and you fail, and you sit in one position and tell yourself, I have failed, I am a failure, what that means is you've given up agency over your life, and you've said, hey, there's no point trying. Because the things you think, the things you dwell on, the things you deliberate on really make a huge difference. When we say, be careful the stuff that it's not just a cliche. It's actually real. And your spirit oftentimes connects with what you say, and not just your spirit, the universe. There's something called confirmation bias. What you dwell on a lot of times, the world is conspired to make that happen for you. So when you tell yourself all the time that I'm a failure, guess what? You're going to find reasons in the world to prove to you that you're a failure.
You're actually a failure.
So you need to really learn to really change your mindset. So it's not about, I am a failure, but it's about, I have failed in this. Be very specific. When you realize that you failed in this, then you are able to do your SWOT analysis on that particular situation, and you're able to get out the lessons that you need to get out to move on tomorrow. And it's also possible for you that failure tells you that, hey, this is not for me. This is not for me. And the beauty of life is constantly moving, constantly progressing. There's no harm in trying new things. No harm.
Absolutely. Because of time, quickly, we see that former President Olusegun Obasanjo wrote the foreword, and you obviously had a lot of support writing this book.
Yes, I did.
But how can people get it? And what is the most inspiring chapter of this book for you?
The most inspiring chapter for me is the part of gratitude. Gratitude, where you recognize that gratitude is not just about when things are going well. With gratitude, you do not select the things you need to be grateful for. Gratitude is about your whole life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I think for me, that summarizes the whole thing.
So where can people get this book?
You can get it on Amazon. There's a pre-launch sales going on now because we're having the launch on the 7th of April.
Oh.
Right, so there's a pre-launch sales going on now. You can find it on our website, thewellnessboss.ng, or you get the ebook on Amazon.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
Boss, that's what they call
The Wellness Boss, yes.
And the essence is that people improve on their wellness at the end of the day.
Very beautiful read.
Right?
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Chris Oziofu Ekwafe Ero,
Yes.
the Wellness Boss Company Limited, lead facilitator, for your time on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Right. Well, this is where we draw the curtains on the program for today. Let's let you know that the views and reactions of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Up next is Your View with the Ladies, and afterwards this morning with Yori Folarin. Do stay safe. Bye for now.
So